Alright, hello, this is Josh with Logic Chronicles, and I'm going to show you my dialogue system. Now this is going to be geared towards like a more RPG sort of style of dialogue, and you're going to be able to branch off with different types of options and go through different conversations and stuff, alright? Now it works with audio or without audio, so you can actually record something and actually put it in and have your character actually like speak instead of just plain text. You can switch back and forth between if you want to just hit a button to continue or have it automatically keep cycling, and it'll work with or without audio, which is kind of nice. For this, I'll show you what I did now. It's gonna sound weird because I actually didn't record myself speaking and actually saying all the dialogue and stuff. What I did was I just used some default sound from the starter content. It's not gonna sound that pretty, but at least you'll get an idea of, you know, how it's gonna work, right? So I come over here, hit E. We have that nice explosion, and all of a sudden we have this, and you can see here I have a continue button. I have all these different options. I can ask him who he is. I can keep going through. I can ask him some rumors. You know, I can go over here and start another conversation. And you can see here I can talk about something. All cool. Or I can do this. Now this is kind of my test thing that I use for branching to check how that works. And if I go through, notice I have different choices here, right? I can pick this one. It says one thing. I can hit it again. I can hit the second one. It uses something else. But now notice if I go over to this last option right here, right? If I hit this, you'll see here there's three. If I hit this is a skill checkpoint. So basically, like if you had like an RPG where you wanted to have a conversation that happens one time and then never happens again or something, I can hit this. He says that I failed it. Alright, cool. Now if I go back and I try to ask him about it again, notice here that I don't get that option anymore. It's completely, and you'll see if you saw that print screen, it said that it removed something. And that option is no longer there. Now, if I actually go, I can leave the conversation, I have full control over him. Now if I come back with that awesome audio, if I hit continue, if I go back to it, it's no longer there. I cannot actually speak, I cannot actually pick that option anymore. Now if I want to change things up, I can make it real simple. I can come here, I don't have to use the continue button, and instead I'll use a different voice. So this kind of idea is like if you have like an RPG, like a fantasy RPG, and you have a whole bunch of different races, like maybe a dragon race, a human race, an elf, or whatever. You can actually choose different voices, but have, you know, different people, like different people recording over one line of text. So if I go here, if I hit E again on this guy, notice how it's a different sound, right? So notice how before it was an explosion, this time it was a collapse, and it cycled through by itself. I didn't press any continue button. It did whatever it's got to do. If I hit this one, you'll notice that it'll actually stay here for a while and then switch by itself. And there you go. So that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you how to make, and it'd be kind of cool. But what I'll show you before we get into it for the rest of this video, I'm just going to kind of show you an overview of how this is going to work. Okay? Now this is kind of like all the events that are going to be firing off one after the other, right? And the way this is, you're going to have to kind of think about this, or the way I kind of set up, is kind of like you're axing, or well, not really axing him first, but like first the NPC gives you an answer, which is just whatever he's going to say, and then you get a list of options to speak from, and then which are basically like your questions. What do you want to ask him? And then after you ask the question, the NPC will answer. So you enter dialogue, the NPC will answer you with some sort of greeting of some sort, and if it's long, like you've seen how sometimes it flipped through dialogue, like different parts of the dialogue, if it's long, it'll try to continue it, if it needs to be, and if it needs to continue and keep displaying more parts of the text, it'll keep cycling through until it's finished with everything it's got to say there, and then after that, it'll either end it, or what it'll do is it'll go to what I call a root context, and that's just basically like a packet of smaller conversations, and then I have a subcontext. And what the whole idea is, you know, this main packet of information is going to have one main conversation that the NPC will have, and then it'll have smaller conversations that you can kind of put inside of it, so it can basically cycle through different options and stuff. Then once this kind of happens behind the scenes, it'll display whatever questions you can ask, or whatever options you want to pick from, or whatever branches you want to pick from. And after you pick it, it'll go back to the display, and it'll cycle through again and again and again. But once you pick something that'll end the conversation, it'll go through, he'll say whatever he's gonna say, and then after it finishes, it's gonna end. Alright? Now that's basically everything, and I'll show you how I did it.